We'll be looking at a seasonal waterfall, an abandoned rock house, as well as rock formations and rugged trails. Exploring the horizons, we're over at Soledad Canyon. The parking lot over at the Soledad Canyon day use area is useful for RVs. Also, there's plenty of parking space, and the best part is it's free, but it's only open roughly during the daylight hours. So if you come at night, this will be shut off, and there's a gate there that they will close down. The trailhead to Bar Canyon Loop, not Soledad Canyon Loop, is right off the trail. However, you will see a lot of your hiking apps will actually call this same route Soledad Canyon Loop as well as the Bar Canyon Loop. It's usually referring to the same trail, even though I did see on one app that if you go to the left, they call it Bar Canyon. If you go to the right, it's Soledad. I don't quite understand how the discrepancy came from. The only thing I can think of is perhaps because this is the area where the Soledad Canyon as well as the Bar Canyon meet. So at the beginning of the trail, you do pass by this nice picnic table. So if you don't really want to do the hike, there's a little option there for you next to the antique water tower. And I'm assuming that was some sort of item to hold water, that round thing that we saw out there that was made out of rocks. The area did receive a lot of heavy rain lately, so as we go through the video, you will see that some of the video is washed out. This is the early morning hours because, again, this is the Las Cruces, southern New Mexico area. We're not too far away from El Paso or from Ciudad Juarez, so this area gets pretty hot. And the sun is really strong here, so if you're going to go during the summertime, like when this video was filmed in June of 2025, it does get pretty hot. It often gets above 100 degrees in this area. So unless you like hiking 100-degree heat, you probably want to be out here around 6:37 in the morning. But at least you get to see an epic sunrise that we see off here in the distance. This trail, I decided to go right. If you go on the right side, it is more difficult. One thing I have noticed, probably true, I would say maybe 90% of the time here in the state of New Mexico, is that if it's a difficult trail, it's usually more beautiful. But there are some exceptions, such as Dripping Springs. Even though it's a very easy trail, fairly flat, easy to walk on for most people, it's still very scenic, and plus there's abandoned buildings. In fact, I actually did a video about that. You can go to the end of the video. I'll put a playlist for all the different trails and places in Las Cruces that I've been to. And if you happen to hit that subscribe button, then you will also get notified, if you hit the bell icon too, anytime I release a new video. So I would go ahead and do that just because I'm always adding new content, not only about this area, but also other places as well. This is a travel channel, as a matter of fact. And as we went down here, you do have to pay very close attention to the trail you're on. Some of these trails are not very well marked, and they will veer off. Sometimes it will take you into little dead ends, and other times it will just kind of fork out, and then the trail will come back together. This is not an endorsement. I'm not getting paid by them, but I have used AllTrails before, and you know, I don't usually run the app very long when I'm hiking normally, but it does help a lot sometimes. Especially a lot of the trails around here are not well marked at all. And there are no restroom facilities out here that I saw. However, if you go down to Dripping Springs, there's a station over there, and there's facilities down there as well. So when we cross this arroyo area, it's very hard to see. You know, you can kind of see a little bit in the video. There is a marker on the left-hand side. However, when we were hiking, I missed that marker. And because I missed it, I didn't realize that there was a trail over there. So yeah, here I'm going the wrong way and didn't realize it. So if this looks familiar to you while you're out hiking, and you see the sign that warns you of artillery if you go beyond this point, and also some prison time and fines, then that's a clue you're going the wrong direction. The sign was to the left, but then the trail kept going on. Then I ran into this other sign warning about possible unexploded ordnance from Fort Bliss, which Fort Bliss is in El Paso, Texas mostly. However, it does straddle into New Mexico, and I didn't realize that Fort Bliss had some facilities this far out. There were people behind me, and that was my other clue, that when they never caught up to me when I stopped and never saw them again, that I probably missed the trail. So I went back until I found the correct trailhead, and then I resumed the mission where I was supposed to be going. So this is part of the Oregon Mountains. The Oregon Mountains have a lot of cool, unique trails, also a lot of diverse species of plants and animals in this area. So even if you're into plants, animals, this place will have you in heaven. Lots of yuccas in here, and you can see how the trail has ruts in it. It's very washed out. It did make the trail a lot more difficult to climb, and unfortunately the flash floods loosened up a lot of rocks and everything. So this place, when I went over, it was slippery. I've watched other videos of other YouTubers that have been out here, and I don't remember them saying anything about it being slippery or rocky. So I think that was probably, I'm guessing, is the time when I was out here. So this mountain range is known as the Oregon Mountains. It's going to be part of the Oregon Mountains Desert Peak National Monument. That monument actually encompasses a lot of different places. It's not one continuous piece of land. There's about 500,000 acres. And it also includes areas like the Robledo Mountains, the Dona Ana Mountains, just to name a few. If you haven't already done so, if you could do me a favor and please hit that like button, especially if you decide that you don't want to subscribe to this channel. But if you could at least hit like button, it's free to you, it doesn't cost you anything. But for me, it does help me out immensely. And it also can help support me doing future videos and getting better equipment as we go. So as we can continue through here, it is eventually going to start to get more scenic on us, and it's also going to begin to narrow. I love these cloud formations. And I know that this panoramic lens I'm using does create a slight warping effect. The trade-off is it allows you to see a lot more than what you would see with the other lens that I have on here. So unfortunately, there is both an advantage and disadvantage to using this lens. You see all these gnats. So when you come out here, besides sunscreen, you might also want to look at some bug spray, because especially in the morning, pretty much almost all the entire time there were gnats out here. To avoid them, I tried to move a little bit fast to try to stay away from them, and that seemed to have helped me, as they didn't seem to bother me quite as much. I noticed as I got closer to the mountains, I don't remember there's that many gnats, but it could have just been because it was getting a little bit later in the day. This trail is rated as a moderate trail, and I mean, it'd be hard to say for me to say how long it should take you to do it, but I would give yourself at least 2.5 hours. Not because it's so difficult, but because you probably want to stop and take a look at things along the way, especially as you get deeper into the mountain areas. So a little fun fact is that Oñate, famous Spanish explorer, had explored these mountains back when he did his expedition. And what I've always heard from local legend, and I didn't actually read this in a book, was that the reason why it's called the Oregon Mountains is because it looks like an old-fashioned church organ, and you know, from a distance. So that's kind of where this idea came from. It's probably because of some of the rocks. There are some very high peaks and high rocks in this area that go way up, and some of these area around here is very popular for mountain climbers. So as we came up, we came across a rare sight. There was a stream coming from the waterfall, and I've never seen the stream. I did run into another hiker who was very impressed by it, as usually you see the water coming down from the waterfall, but then it kind of disappears among the rocks and gets dispersed, and it doesn't form a solid, definite stream. But it made for some really nice scenic hiking along the way. And if you know me, I like to get my feet wet. Seems like every video I always like to try to get into the water somewhere, anytime there is water anyway. I believe that this little stream here, this will probably be one of the few videos, if you'll ever see one, that actually shows this stream, as apparently this is a rare phenomenon. So I've been told anyway. If I'm wrong on that, please let me know in the comments, because I'm not 100% perfect, and as soon as I do make mistakes in videos, and I always let people know. So I ran into this gentleman. He also did tell me that Dripping Springs is also flowing really well, which I've done a video about Dripping Springs last time I was there. It was kind of a sad spring. It really wasn't dripping very well at all. Almost made me feel like I was in the south again, seeing this waterfall. Although the ones in the south are usually bigger than this waterfall. It was very mesmerizing though watching this. Check out my other channel, Minute Bible Readings, which will combine scripture along with nature videos. If you're interested in checking out, there's going to be a link in the description. So now we're going to be leaving the waterfall. We're going to be paralleling a trail that goes right along the stream, and we're going to be heading to our next destination, the promised abandoned house. Cozy little place, needs a little bit of repairs though. So one thing I am hoping that this video does inspire you to get out, maybe even if you don't go to this location, but just to get out and enjoy nature. We're not meant to be locked up inside offices and schools all day. I believe it's very important for everybody's mental health. I don't care how well adapted you are, for us to get outside once in a while. Even if you just walk a city park, just get outside. I think that a lot of our problems that we're seeing with an increase in depression, anxiety, I think a lot of it is just coming from people being isolated, being cooped up, and not getting out and experiencing life. And this is one of those trails I mentioned that kind of go to a dead end. I probably could have walked through those rocks, but I just was in the mood to do so after all the other treacherous hiking I did. So I just went back on the main trail, found it, and then went over towards the rock house. Now, from what I understand, there's not a whole lot known about this house. There's land records that show it dating back to 1911. And also being sold in 1916. Some point it was abandoned. And back in 2016, I did find an old news article saying that several of the walls had collapsed. It was believed to have been due to a bunch of heavy snow and weather conditions that were going on during that time period. So on the way back, I did find that the trail that goes to the left at the fork is much easier than the one on the right. So if you have somebody in your party, or if you're of limited physical ability, you might want to consider going to the left first, as the trail is more calm. There are still some steep parts along this section of trail, but it's much tamer, and it's also, I think it's a little bit of a shorter hike than going the other way.